Welcome to Wilder Ranch here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our reading today of Going to a Horse Farm. This is, as the description said, for first and second graders. That's the target audience for this reading. So we're grateful that you can join us as you shelter in place here in Santa Cruz County. We look forward to seeing you again once that is lifted and you can come visit us and take a tour of the houses and things here in the Visitor Center as well. My name is Kate and I'm an interpretive aide here at Wilder Ranch, and my colleague Rewa is helping us with comments, and if you have questions, feel free to write those in and she will be monitoring that for us today. Here at Wilder Ranch, horses were really important. They worked very hard, just like the people did. And there was a horse barn here that had stalls for 15 horses. And horses would help in all kinds of ways. They would help pull wagons, they would help in the fields, and they also would help their riders gather cows. So they worked pretty hard and they were well cared for. Horses began being raised here at Wilder Ranch in the 1920s, and rodeo grounds were built here in the 1930s and 40s, in the 1920s, and in the 30s and 40s, professional cowboys practiced here, and they had competitions. In 1946, actually someone who worked here named Led Engelsman won the title of Champion Cowboy, which was a big deal. And so horses have always been important and valued and loved here at Wilder Ranch, and I hope you feel that way where you are too. So today we are going to be reading this book, Going to a Horse Farm, by Shirley Kirby James and Laura Jacques. And we also are going to do a quick demonstration of handmade butter, so a little bit of butter making. So you are welcome, if you read the description, you're welcome to go get your heavy whipping cream, whatever kind you have, that's heavy, brand you have that's heavy whipping cream, and a little jar, and then we will be working on that towards the end of the program. You can, if you want, though, start shaking it and do that throughout the program. We are also going to be joined today by our little friend, Little Horse. He wanted to join and listen to the story today, so I'm going to let him watch us from up here. So, thank you again for joining us, for those of you who are tuning in. And there is a comment, is the book about Wilder Ranch? No, this is a book about horse farms in general. And you are welcome to pick it up at your favorite book place, probably online these days, if you like this story. But we do have this here, and we have used it here for animal programs with some of our students that come visit. So, and if you like any part of the story, you are welcome to put a thumbs up or choose that button or a little heart as we go along. And like I said, you're welcome to ask questions in the chat feature or in the comments feature, and I will be asking some questions. So you're welcome to answer those there if you'd like as well. So let's get started. There is great excitement at Mr. Roy's farm. In the barn, a new baby foal has just been born. Mr. Roy's daughter, Sally, says, "Hooray, a new foal! May I invite Paula and her brother Tony to come see it?" "Yes," says Mr. Roy. So this is their horse farm. This is where this story is going to take place today. Paula and Tony are thrilled. On the way up to the stables, they see 3 horses eating grass in a field. "They must eat a lot of grass," says Paula, "because they are fat." "These horses look fat because they are about to have babies," says Mr. Roy. "Their babies will be born in a few weeks' time." "These mares eat special food and vitamins, as well as grass." You may know some ladies that eat special foods and vitamins when they're going to have a baby too. Paula and Tony see the tiny foal. And there she is, right there. She is only 5 days old, but her thin legs are as long as her mother's. She could stand up and walk 1 hour after she was born. Wow. The foal is wearing her own tiny head collar. That's this red thing right here. When Mr. Roy leads her with one hand, holding on to this, he puts the other hand around her back to steady her. She must learn to be led quietly before she is too big and strong. The foal can move really fast. She stays close to her mother's side all the time. Her long legs help her keep up with her mother when she runs. And there they're running. The foal has a drink of milk whenever she likes. Her mother needs to produce a lot of milk. When a mother doesn't have enough milk, the foal has to be fed from a baby bottle. And that's a lot of work because she is thirsty every 20 minutes. The foal needs to rest a lot too. She lies down in the grass to nap. Paula and Tony laugh as the foal tries to control her legs. She's a little wobbly there. The children watch a young horse who is only 2 years old. He is being schooled on a long line called a lunge, and he's learning to obey the trainer's voice. This is the long line that's a lunge. Can you see that? And they're watching. Then it is time for a 3-year-old stallion to be trained. We don't ride the horses until they are 3 and have most of their growth. Then they're strong enough to carry our weight, Mr. Roy explains. That's the stallion. So pretty. The stallion knows how to move quietly on the lunge and obey the trainer's commands. As soon as he gets used to a saddle, he will learn to accept the weight of a rider on his back. A rider uses the reins and the pressure of his or her legs to tell the horse what to do. And there it is. Beautiful horse. We always praise our horses when they do well, Mr. Roy says. He strokes the stallion's neck and feeds him an apple, which is the stallion's favorite treat. Maybe you have a favorite treat, and you get that when you do well also. Sally leads an old mare called Smokey from the paddock. Smokey is 25 years old and is very quiet and gentle. Sally is allowed to ride Smokey whenever she likes. Sally shows Paula and Tony how to brush Smokey. The old mare likes to be brushed, and she doesn't move. So there they are. Sally has her brush, and the other two have their brushes, and she's showing them how to brush Smokey. You can tell she's old because she's all white, says Paula. Smokey was white when she was young, says Sally. You can tell her age by the length of her teeth. As horses get older, their teeth get longer and longer. And there's their friend, their dog, who's also watching. Mr. Roy is very careful when he puts the bit into Smokey's mouth. He doesn't want to hurt her. Tony wants to see Smokey's long teeth. And there's the bit in the horse's mouth. The saddle fits comfortably on Smokey's back. The red saddle blanket underneath is thick and soft, and it stops the saddle from slipping. The girth strap holds the saddle firmly in place. And there is saddle being put on, and the girth strap holding the saddle in place. It's kind of like a belt when people use a belt to hold their pants in place. Sally asks Paula if she wants to ride. Does she? Mr. Roy lifts Paula onto Smokey's back. Then he makes the stirrups the right length for Paula's legs and shows her how to hold the reins. So here he is, adjusting the stirrups so that it fits her legs. Paula feels high above the ground. She takes a deep breath as Smokey begins to walk. Let's do that. Let's take a deep breath. That's a good idea. Smokey's body moves up and down, and Paula is rocked about in the saddle. There she is riding. Me too, shouts Tony. Can I have a ride too? Sure you can, says Mr. Roy, but please talk quietly around Smokey. Horses get nervous when they hear really loud noises, so we want to talk quietly when we're around horses. Even though it is exciting to ride one. Tony sits on Smokey's back. He feels a little scared when he looks down, and Mr. Roy asks, "Did you know horses wear different size shoes just like people?" "No," says Tony, "I didn't. What size does Smokey wear?" "Size 1, says Mr. Roy. "So do I," laughs Tony, and he pats Smokey's neck. "What size shoe do you wear? Do you know?" You are welcome to type that in or have someone type it in for you. Sally rides Smokey next. She has been riding for a long time, and she knows how to sit quietly when Smokey gallops. She moves only from the waist up without bouncing out of the saddle. There she is doing a great job of riding Smokey. Sally has been learning to jump Smokey. She leans forward so that she doesn't lose her balance when Smokey lands. There they're riding. Smokey has behaved well with the children. She deserves a special treat. "Let's give her a carrot," says Sally. "That's her favorite food." Do you have a favorite food? Mine is tacos. You're welcome to type your answer in too. Ray was looking for your answers too. It is time to prepare the stable for the night. The stalls are cleaned and soft beds of wood shavings or straw are put down for the horses. There they are, getting ready for a wonderful night's sleep. The horses need fresh water to drink all the time. Sally likes to help in the stables at feeding time. And her friends are going to help too. And there's a kitty. I love kitties. Mr. Roy measures out oats and wheat bran and corn for the horses. And this food gives them the vitamins and minerals that they need. So there he is, measuring out food. And then look, there's 2 kitties now. I wanted to show you some pictures of the things that the horses eat. So here's a picture of oats that horses like to eat. You may like to eat oatmeal, which is also made out of oats. And they like to eat wheat bran. This is what wheat bran looks like. And of course, you probably know what corn looks like because you eat that too. So the food gives them the vitamins and minerals they need. And you might take vitamins too to help you. Horses are grazing animals, so they like to eat most of the time. That's why Mr. Roy also gives them large amounts of hay to eat. Sally, Paula, and Tony help carry hay to the stalls. And that's kind of what hay looks like. And I brought some in here from the ranch so that you can see a little bit of what it looks like up close. Pretty neat. Horses eat a lot of that. The new foal shares the large loose box stall with her mother. The bedding, just this, the bedding is piled high around the walls so that she won't get hurt. She will live with her mother until she is 6 months old. Then she will share a field with the older foals. And here they are. The older foals like to run and play. While they're having fun, running helps them grow strong and healthy, just like when you run and play, helps you grow strong and healthy. Sally points to the foals and says, "There's Blaze and Shadow and Ranger and Star." Those are their names. She and her friends are having a great day. "You must come back next week and help us name the new foal," says Sally. Paula says, "That would be great." On the way home, she thinks, "Wobbly would be a good name because the foal is so wobbly when it stands up." Maybe you could think of a good name too. And if you can, feel free to write it in the comments. Tell us what you would like to name that foal, that new baby horse. We would like to hear your ideas. I'll show you a picture of that little foal one more time. Maybe it'll inspire you to come up with a name for it. So there it is. There she is. All right. So that was our reading of Going to a Horse Farm. Thank you for joining us for that. We are also, I wanted to show you some horses that we have had here for a long time at Wilder Ranch. They're not here right now, but some of you who have visited us probably have seen them. This is Margaret and Millie with their friend Elisa. So we love horses here at Wilder Ranch. And once again, thank you for joining us for our reading of our horse story. Again, horses have always been important and valued and loved here at Wilder Ranch, and I hope you feel that way too. And also here at Wilder Ranch, butter making was really important. And they made a lot of butter, like 250 or 300 pounds of butter on some days. So I thought I would show you how to make some quickly yourself. So all you need, as was put in the description for this program, is a little bit of whipping cream and a little jar. And you can pour as much as you want into your jar. I just have a little bit here. And you're going to shake this for several minutes. So we may not get through this whole process today where you get to see the butter, but you can do this after we're done. And so you can shake this, and it should start turning into cream in about 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, so that when you take the lid off, you start seeing some cream forming. It's hard to show you on the camera, the cream's going to the side. But you can just keep shaking it like this. We do this with kid groups when we have school group tours here, and they learn the value of teamwork by shaking this a little bit, one person at a time, and then passing it on to someone else. So you can try that as well if you want to do this with a friend. But just keep shaking it, and after 5 or 6 minutes, the cream will separate, the buttermilk will separate from the actual butter, and you can pour that liquid off. That's buttermilk. Keep it if you want to use it for some kind of cooking or baking, or don't keep it. And then rinse it with cold water. Just put some cold water in the bowl and rinse that, and then get rid of that water too. It's going to be kind of discolored water. And you keep doing that until the water runs clear. And then you know you only have butter, and the buttermilk is gone. And you can shape it. You can put your hands in there and shape it into a little ball. And then if you want, you could even put something on top and stamp it. Here at Wilder Ranch, there was a stamp with the name D.D. Wilder on it, which means everybody was able to recognize that this was really high quality butter, and that's what they wanted to buy. And so if you want to experiment with making butter, you can put a little salt in the beginning when it's liquid. You can put any kind of herb in there that you want to try. Anything that you want to try like that, you're welcome to experiment and see what kind of butter you would prefer. So thank you for joining us here. And again, feel free to pass this along to your friends, especially if they have first and second graders and would like to hear the story read. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining us. We are grateful. Goodbye.